इस स्वतंत्रता दिवस के अवसर पर नेशनल कैडेट कोर के 90 कैडेट आपके निष्क्रिय अतिरिक्त जय श्री भारत।
प्रतिज्ञा करता हूं कि मैं सच्चाई और श्रद्धा से अपने देश की सेवा करूंगा तथा एनसीसी के नियमों तथा अधिनियमों का पालन करूंगा और अपने कमांडिंग ऑफिसर के आदेश के अनुसार हर परेड एवं कैंप में पूर्ण शक्ति के साथ सम्मिलित रहूंगा। जय हिंद। जय हिंद।
you all on this, the 71st Independence Day of our country. Before I share my thoughts with you, I just want to congratulate the beautiful rendition of our national anthem by our students of the Northeast and the wonderful display given by our young cadets of the 17th Maharashtra Battalion. When I was thinking about very recently what thought I should share with you this morning, I was looking at the prevailing situation that we all find ourselves in India and indeed the world over. Be it the war that continues to rage on in Iraq and Syria, where thousands of families are fleeing for their lives with nowhere to go, or the barbaric killing because of the twisted mind of a single person who goes on killing people without rhyme or reason, irrespective of their gender or age. Around the world, we see uprisings going on in so many countries because of the lack of basic food and medicines, not so much because of natural causes, but because of the misrule of those who are in power. Closer to home, though tremendous progress has been made in so many spheres over the last 2 years or 3 years, some issues remain. The gap between the rich and the poor continues to exist and grow. Our women are still not safe, and on a daily basis we hear about mistreatment to our women, which is very unfortunately becoming a norm rather than an exception. The plight of our farmers continues to be just the way it is. There is frustration in the mind of today's youth because of the lack of job opportunities and so many others. Makes us wonder where we as a human race are heading. However, amid all this chaos and turmoil that seems to surround us, we all need to maintain a sense of balance and believe that things will improve, and there's got to be a way out. Very recently, I was reading a certain story that I had narrated quite a few years ago, which will help me emphasize a single point that I want you to carry home with you on this auspicious occasion. It's a story about a Belgian priest by the name of Father Damien. Father Damien was from a country called as Belgium, and whose life's work was carried out in a very beautiful state called as Hawaii in USA, which is the 50th state of the United States of America. You see, in the mid-1900s, or in the 19th century, let's simplify it, there was a health crisis going on in Hawaii, where thousands and thousands of their natives became afflicted with infectious diseases brought in by tourists and sailors who came into that state of Hawaii. Infectious diseases like influenza and so many others. The government at that time decided to investigate and came to the conclusion that the #1 killer at that time was leprosy. And the government at that time wrongly believed that leprosy was a contagious disease. Thousands of people were dying like flies because of leprosy. So they decided to quarantine the lepers of Hawaii. Quarantine means what? They decided to take all the lepers and isolate them to a certain island in Hawaii that is called as Molokai, a very beautiful island in Hawaii called as Molokai. The idea behind it was it's a contagious or an infectious disease, and though if they can avoid human contact, they would be able to control the spread of leprosy, which was rampant among their population. So you can imagine they took shiploads of lepers, stuffed them into ferries and boats, and ferried them across to quarantine them to that beautiful island of Molokai in Hawaii. And they were left there. There was nothing to speak of in terms of civic infrastructure. There were no schools, there were no hospitals, there were no jobs, there was no market, and there was nothing in a sense. They were left to die there. At some point in time, the government realized that this policy isn't quite the correct one, and they did not want their fellow inhabitants to suffer in that way. And therefore they decided to send a priest to that beautiful island of Molokai, the objective being that he would then, or she maybe would then be able to be of some calm or help them in their dire need or pray for them or just be a mentor, a philosopher, a guide maybe. Nobody wanted to take up that job. Who wanted to go to that island which was full of lepers? However, there was a young priest called as Father Damien from Belgium who had just taken up his priesthood, and he said, I am willing to go to Belgium and work among the lepers of Molokai. So he was shipped into Molokai, and Father Damien went there and initially began by winning their confidence. He slowly started working them. He built up their confidence. Schools were built. Hospitals were built. The lepers of Molokai started getting jobs in farms. And in a sense, their life or their quality of life improved. Father Damien was also an amateur carpenter. And besides just helping them or leading them into starting such things, he did small jobs like repairing their houses. He made their coffins if necessary. He dug their graves. He dressed their ulcers. And this went on, and the condition of the people, or let's put it more appropriately, the lepers of Molokai improved greatly. He worked every day non-stop for 16 years, and one fine morning as he was having a bath in his very frugal hut in which he lived, he mistakenly poured boiling water on his leg since he was not paying attention to it. And his leg immediately had blisters. Why did he have blisters? Because of the tremendous heat that caused the blisters to come. However, to his surprise, he realized that he did not feel a thing. To cut a long story short, Father Damien had contracted leprosy. He was 45 years old at that time. Not for a minute did he sympathize with himself or indulge in self-pity, but continued to work for the lepers of that beautiful island of Molokai with the same zeal and enthusiasm that he always had. Over the next 4 years, his leprosy progressed, his work also progressed. And by the time he was 49 years old, he had tubercles, as they call them, or swellings all over his chest, his abdomen, his back, his lips, his ears, his cheeks, his nose, his chin started swelling off. His fingers started falling off, but still he continued with the same zeal and enthusiasm, as he always did. The story ends by saying that at the age of 49, Father Damien passed away happily, with a smile on his lips, the story says, knowing that he had completed his life's mission, which was to help the afflicted lepers of the island of Molokai to the best of his ability. Why am I telling you the story? The reason why I'm telling you the story, besides its being a very compelling one, is that there are lessons to be learned from it. Lessons in that more than ever there is a need for ordinary or normal people like you and me to take up a cause that is of concern to us and pursue it relentlessly with the utmost of conviction, irrespective of the price that we have to pay. And who knows, maybe from amongst us will rise a champion who will rid society of at least some of the ills that it is plagued by. As someone wisely said, our life does not depend upon what happens to us, but how we react to what happens. Not what life brings to us, but the attitude that we bring to life. And therefore, on the auspices of this, our 71st Independence Day, let each one of us recommit ourselves to taking up a certain job or a certain task that is close to our heart, and try and help those who surround us, and in doing so hope that our children and thereafter our children's children might lead better lives. God bless this great country and this great institution of ours.
Jai Sri Ram, Priyanka, Usati ke Nikya, Pakistan.